Draft Wizard app, but I figured I'd give you guys a look at what it actually looks like and how it actually all works, and how you can use it to, draft. It's from Fantasy Pros. Those guys are awesome, and as you can see, so the last few mock drafts I've done, I try to do one every day. 6, 5, 2, 1. I don't know. Maybe I missed a day or two in between there. But this is kind of how the Draft Wizard app sets up. Now, this is on an iPhone. I'm not sure if it's a little different on an Android. But you have multiple options down here at the bottom. So you can go to like your leagues, which this is my league for my work league here. And this is kind of how everything is set up. So you can set it up and you can actually sync these guys in here. So when you go into the actual, so this is me, Fantasy Conqueror, this is the number of teams, this is the number of rounds, this is the scoring, how the positions all lay out, and this is when my draft will be, and you can go in there and import that stuff. I think if you go to sync, I guess I'm syncing right now, but before, you could actually draft into, you can actually bring your draft and all your setup and how all your teams are in like Yahoo, ESPN. They have many, sorry if I go back here. If they have many ways to actually sync things up, you can edit the league, duplicate it, delete it. Now what I do is I'll mock draft with these settings in here, and I know there's only 8 teams in there right now, but there are actually 12 total teams. Just we got 4 slackers that aren't actually getting in yet. We keep reminding them to join the league, or it would say 12 at that point, right? And then the cheat sheets, you can actually move your own cheat sheets in there. If you wanted to create one, you can name it like, Conquer, and then you could actually go in here and you can, I guess you got to upgrade, but you can create a new cheat sheet if you wanted to like sit there and say, okay, I want Zeke up as my number 1, Saquon as my number 2, and this is another cool thing that they have. Like when you're going through and you're looking at the actual players when you're going to draft, it'll tell you kind of their best, worst, and what the experts' notes are, like what they did in 2018. So you can kind of get a gauge as you're going through doing this mock draft, because mock drafts are extraordinarily helpful. They have this advice tab at the bottom right here, so you can go through and check out the latest news. You can check out the latest articles, podcasts. This is all the podcasts from them, and they're really good podcasts, so if you get a chance to listen to them, they're also awesome. These are the rankings, and you can drop it down to PPR if you want, just by clicking that little scoring section, and that's pretty consistent with most everybody else here, right? I don't know. I'm kind of falling on Christian McCaffrey after I did my analysis of him based on his consistency. I'm really big into consistent players. And the funny thing is, you got Travis Kelce here at number 7. He is the number 1 tight end, but he won't go anywhere near this position. He's not, in my mind, he's not like you would grab a Gronk. I mean, back when Gronk was Gronk, he was still, in my opinion, risky to take in the first round. I would go more late second, but I still never go tight end that early to get him. So if I look at, like, let's say this draft that I did here, it'll tell you the analyzer, and what basically it tells you is like, I've got, I had my strengths were my kicker and my bench, and I got Gostkowski, of course, that's why it's strength there. Weakness is quarterback, even though your quarterback is Drew Brees. I don't know if that's totally like, realistic, but they've got your projections. This is where they project you would win and where you would go to, versus this group of people. This would be my roster, and these are kind of the positions you picked. So my first pick was Christian McCaffrey. Second was Antonio Brown. Third was Keenan Allen. Fourth, I went up and grabbed Sony Michel. I wasn't too stoked about that one, but it happens. But I did get Mark Ingram, which I've heard Mark Ingram has been getting a lot of hype now about possibly being the 3rd down back, which is great. And then this kind of tells you what order everybody kind of went in. And then these are basically the top 4 that I've kind of seen. And so with me being at position 4, and I know my league, I know they're taking Zeke, and I know Kamara. I know the guy at number 2 is a Cowboys fan. I know the guy at number 3 is a Saints fan. So I know those 2 guys are going to be off the board before it gets to me. Coincidentally, I think this might actually be how my draft actually goes in real life, with Saquon going number 1. And then it gets down here to me with Christian McCaffrey. And I've really been struggling on the on the McCaffrey train because I don't know if I really believe, so much so that he's going to repeat what he did last season. I'm more of like wanting Lev Bell, or even crazy as it is, down here you'll see, look how far down Gurley's going. I mean, if I could have grabbed Gurley as my second running back, I don't see that happening in my league right now. The guys are just too out of sync with where players are. I just don't I don't think that I'll be able to get Gurley in the second round in my position. Maybe if I was like position like number 8, and I could possibly have grabbed Lev and Gurley would be awesome. But I think people are going to be going after Gurley just because of, you know, how great he's been, and I would love to get him too in the second round. I can't pass up Gurley. But this is kind of where we are. If I go here, so if you wanted to create a draft, you can just go here, start a mock draft, or you can import your league. That was what I was telling you about. Oh, I already have one imported, so I can't show you guys that. But basically, a screen will pop up. It'll ask you what your what platform you're using, ESPN, Yahoo, all that. They have tons of them too. And then from there, you just log in and it'll import your stuff. So now I'll just go here, and this is my league. I will mock draft with these settings. I'm going to turn Do Not Disturb on so I stop getting these alerts. Sorry, guys. So if I went and did this, now what basically I can see here is that this is the suggestion. This is what they're telling me I should take, right? I'm at the pick 4. This is the cheat sheet here, right? This tells me I can now click on quarterback, see what quarterbacks are here. So if you're going through here doing this, this is a really fast way to get a mock draft in. It'd take you 10 minutes to do, and it's really, really good. You can take it in during just when you're dropping a Duke, you can go in there and do a mock draft, and you kind of get a gauge where people are going, because this is updated so frequently that, they use, I guess Melvin Gordon, he's still here, but he's probably going to start sliding down. I would put him definitely behind Lev Bell at this point because we don't know about his contract. Now, if his contract goes well, Melvin Gordon goes back up to the top, and now I've got a bigger debate with myself on who I take at number 4. In this example, I know Kamara is going to be gone in my real draft, but in this one, he's not. So the other thing you can do is if I go to running backs, you can click this little box over here, this little blue words over here that says Show Taken. Boom. And that'll show you the players that were actually taken. So we see the 3 guys that were already taken. We'll hide them. And you can hide their stats if you wanted to just see the players. You can show their stats. I really like seeing their stats. This is their projected stats, what Fantasy Pros here projects they'll do. And if you click on their actual name, like if I click on Kamara, it'll tell me those notes like I was telling you guys. It'll show you here like his 2018 stats, 14 touchdowns. Guy's a freaking stud. 4 reception touchdowns, 18 total. I mean, the guy had 1,500 total yards. The guy is just a beast. So I have the option from this screen to draft him or to add him, right? And I can add him there. And then I can go to my rosters. This will tell me my rosters. You can click up here underneath my name, and you can click on who else you want to look at. These are actually the real people in my league, but they're not actually, they're fake, being fake drafted for. This is the draft log, tells you everybody that was drafted. This is a predictor you got to pay for, so I skip on that. I don't really pay for much of anything because most of the information in the world you can get for free. So in this example, let's say I go through and I'll take Kamara. Now what I'll show you, because we didn't get to see it because it happened so quickly, is they'll actually show you who all gets drafted. So if I take here, it tells you in order how many more picks until your turn, who's kind of going. And now here we are. I can actually surprisingly get Kamara and Todd Gurley, or I could take Michael Thomas. And that's a decision that's going to be, tough to make. I've got